And that's why when we're seeing so many new picks and strategies being thrown like darts onto the dartboard, some of them will stick and some of them will not. And it feels like Kalista, given what people are talking about and what we've seen so far on the Rift, may actually be one of the new strategies and new picks that really do permeate the meta rather than fall away like perhaps the Kassadin will.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to see Kassadin at least in Game 2. BBQ have decided we are certainly not going to see Prey on Ashe at any point this series.
That's certainly not happening, but Cannon was removed, and that is a good thing. Longzhu now on the blue side, a little bit more flexibility with the bans.
Does feel like they could have banned the Cannon quite freely on red side last game and chose to overlook it. Let's see if Longzhu can get access to Elise, because that is the pick I think that they really need. Elise or Zac for the jungle would be big for them. BBQ, if they ban away the Zac, as the tier list would suggest, would leave Elise first pick. And they actually open up the Zac for the first time all season.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
This is the ultimate, do you play Zac or do you not?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with they probably play Zac. And like I said in the Game 1 drop, this is a flex pick. Korea is loving support Zac as well. So
and we know how much Gorilla likes to roam. We know how much Gorilla somehow finds himself in exactly the right position. Elastic Slingshot is one of the best abilities to get you where you want to go when you need to be.
I'm just hyped. We get to see, finally, the broken, super strong Zac pick and see if it matches expectation, because in every form of the game, this is a pick that is banned. There's only so much practice you can have on Zac if you're playing match-made games or even scrims, because of the reputation of the power of the pick. Now, I believe this is on the hot-fixed 7.10, so this Q damage is a bit lower, but that is only really relevant in the very late game, because you max Q last anyway, so
yeah,
still going to be a lot of power loaded on the Zac.
Yeah, and look, you talk about that hotfix, and it's like when, you know, Diana, when she was first released, her hotfix that she had, which brought her back in line with a hero that is possible to lose on. You know, when she was released, it was broken as all hell. And that's exactly what Zac was. And I just don't feel like the nerfs have necessarily come in quite enough. But Jarvan going to be picked up very quickly here by BBQ.
I mean, Riot always has to be pretty small on hot fixes, because you can't change everything about a champion mid-patch cycle.
Oh, absolutely.
People aren't going to see a lot.
Not condemning anything.
It is a lot of late-game damage taken away, but it doesn't affect early and mid, where Zac is very powerful. Twitch locked in. Twitch versus Caitlyn last season, no one wanted to do that, but with Doran's shield, they'll try and make it work. And we're going to see kind of the best of the rest of picks that have been overlooked so far this series, as Khan, on his famous Fiora, is going to blind pick it very early.
Well, theoretically blind pick, because like you said, I mean, the Jarvan was picked up, but Bless could be playing that one in the jungle. They could flex this one around.
Yeah, like you say, maybe it's not a blind pick. Maybe it's just a reaction to the Jarvan. But that is an all-in matchup. We've seen Riven versus Fiora. We've seen other Fiora, Renekton versus Fiora. The Jarvan versus Fiora one, the value of the riposte there could be insane if timed at the right time. BBQ may have chosen both solo lanes. We're waiting to get the full confirmation on that, but we'll just go for the Taliyah super early.
Yeah, saving their utility to last, potentially.
Orianna probably going to be banned here.
Would make some sense.
Even though Taliyah does well into Orianna, I think BDD on Comfort is probably not a thing you want. Now, you can't ban both Zed and the Orianna after already seeing the LeBlanc banned, and it's worth noting that Zac is still sort of a magic damage jungler. He's not Elise when it comes to the amount of damage, but does almost purely magic damage. So while it's not Elise Zyra to open up a physical damage mid laner, it is still a remote possibility that something like the Zed could be picked.
Yep, that Zyra could also come in if they want to take Zac into the jungle, like you're talking about. Very flexible.
The only thing we know about Longzhu is top lane Fiora.
Yes. Yeah. That's. I have written Twitch down as well.
That's true.
Pretty sure about that one.
Hey, Twitch jungle. You've played some Korean solo queue. You know about it, Max.
Yeah, well, that's in all of the solo queue. You know, there's always that time where there's a Twitch jungle, and it's always when I'm playing mid lane and I'm playing someone easily gankable and I die level 1. It's a really beautiful feeling.
Red buff Twitch.
Yeah.
Invisibility.
Oh, just really not toxic at all. Well, Olaf is going to be banned away, so Longzhu going well deep into the fact that that is going to be a J4 top lane.
A bit curious, though, because Lee Sin is still available after all of these bans.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think so. You kind of look past it when you see double jungle ban of Nidalee and Olaf, but Lee Sin and Rek'Sai are both available to be selected. A mouse over the Rek'Sai, that's a blessed staple, but the Lee Sin certainly, on terms of power level, is the more comfortable pick, and they will take Lee Sin.
And he also looked very, very comfortable on it in the last game as well, really bullying Cuz around.
This would be confirmation of the Zac being the jungle selection if Thresh was to be taken to paired with Twitch. Makes a bit more sense, as the Zac Twitch lane sounds like it's a bit too all-in.
Yeah.
Twitch usually needs something to help him out, and it's not going to be healing, then it's going to have to be the Dark Passage.
J4 confirmed for the top lane though, so at least Longzhu made the right call on where they were throwing their bans at. It was very interesting leaving that Lee Sin available though, as Gorilla thinking about the Kassadin to be locked in, and it is going to be taken away, so that's going to be the Longzhu composition. Twitch Thresh has seen a lot of success, especially now with that Doran's shield being the way it is. Now to see what Totoro wants to play towards the bottom side.
Now Kassadin is really strong against Taliyah post level 6, because the gap close and the ability to get on top of the Taliyah and assassinate her is very possible. Also, in no way is going to be halted by the Weaver's Walk, because he can just pop over it with the Rift Walk. But very, very weak to the Taliyah pre-6, will be heavily shoved in. So it feels like the jungler has to do significant work to ensure the Kassadin. But then you look at the comp and you're like, well, Fiora's a bit of a snowball lane. Well, Kassadin's a bit of a snowball lane. It's Caitlyn versus Twitch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that Cuz needs to be. That hasn't necessarily been the way that Longzhu has won matches so far, so it's going to take some individual brilliance and Cuz being on point to get them through what is one of the most risky early game comps we've seen so far from a team.
Yeah, we need to bring it back to game 1 Cuz, who is so incredibly good on that Elise, getting around the map, being where he needed to be, getting the flash cocoons where he wanted them, and really snowballing that victory. Might be difficult this time, but their late game team fight looks well and truly filthy on the side of Longzhu Gaming. So if they make it there, things could be very, very difficult. I mean, Let's Bounce is silly now. It is hilariously silly.
And it's not just team fight, because sure, Kassadin and Fiora can get in there and mess people up, Twitch can open
Well,
up with
yeah, that's
stealth,
true.
but this could be two split push champions with pressure and a Twitch coming in from stealth. So I feel like late game, Longzhu have an insane amount of flexibility, if not just straight up winning 5v5s, being able to do so many other things and come close in 5v5s that they have the advantage. But the early game is about as one-sidedly the side of BBQ as can be.
Yeah, and the pick ability on the side of Longzhu is most certainly their flavor with this composition as well. We'll see whether they can turn around the victory the BBQ were able to pick up in game 2, or whether BBQ are going to be able to answer back. Let's hit the riff.
Wow, that BBQ fan found new voice.
Yeah, right.
Very nice.
Well, that's what happens when they pick up a victory, you know. We're in the deciding game. One team going to be able to grab the points. The other team goes home empty-handed, Papa Smithy.
And it's our first game where Zac was not banned in the first round. First picked predictably on the side of Longzhu and Cuz. Let's see where he is on the Zac, because sure, have played Zac in the past. A lot of the mechanics are pretty similar.
Yep.
But you look at his solo queue account, rank 3. Now, he may, of course, have other accounts where he's played Zac, but no one's really getting to play Zac in solo queue, and he has 0 games played on Zac so far this season. So whether scrims have been enough or bouncing around the practice tool, I don't think anyone can have got enough practice on Zac to really be a top-tier Zac player, unless you're named Meteos.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And there's also the fact that, you know, he's banned in every solo queue game, so it's like, well, I wanted to play Zac, but it was, like, impossible to
you're like, coach is like, so did you practice Zac like I asked you to? I tried.
He was great every game. Why is Zac gray now, not green?
I beat some bots.
I beat a lot of them, though. Practice tool is so useful. Already some pressure here being thrown out from Tempt. Oh, that was close.
Didn't get any of the little raptors. Usually a Taliyah can steal one away and thus deny level 2 being popped, but level 2 is taken.
Yep. Not quite there with the sewing skill just yet on the side of Tempt. Still early days. Sure, he can thread better as the game goes on. I have to admit, Zach is hilariously fun to listen to.
He's having a great time.
Woohoo!
And I think we're still on the patch where his voice is super high-pitched all the time. So that'd be fun.
Hell yes. Wait, are we talking scary levels of high-pitched, like Lissandra levels of high-pitched, or?
That's kind of a different problem. Korean Lissandra especially.
Yeah.
You know, I heard once that Zach was voiced by Patrick Warburton, and I never had that confirmed.
Oh, I don't know.
One day I'll find out.
Yeah, one day. Or maybe you just don't want to find out.
No,
in case it's not true.
Schrodinger's voiced over.
Yeah.
He is and isn't voiced by Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
We used a soundboard for one of the quotes.
Pretty good. Riposte comes in.
Now, Khan, again, is an aficionado of the Fiora. He's played a lot of it this season, has always been a Fiora player. When he was playing around the professional scene in his career in China and other scenes, his solo queue Fiora could never be denied. Looked great on it in the Kesper Cup as well. He was playing a lot of it around then. But seeing him on the Fiora here is a scary proposition for BBQ because, again, legacy Fiora player.
Most certainly.
Oh, has been able to go for a roam very early.
Very. And we've got 15 Doran shields thus far today. My number of 24 might actually be off. Might not. I may have underestimated the amount of Doran shields that we could have tonight, Papa Smitty.
Hard thing to do.
I know.
Because you had a pretty good estimate there.
Yeah, 24 was a big one. But, whoa.
Maybe they listened to the cast yesterday.
Yeah.
My rambunctious enthusiasm.
It was very rambunctious.
What a fun word.
Oh, such a fun word. I was hoping someone would mention it. This Tempt heads back to the lane with blue buff in hand. Matches his outfit as well. Wonderful.
Has there ever been a word that you've like spent multiple casts trying to work it in? Not just like a reference, because everyone has like some reference like this will be good someday. Has there ever been a word that you're like, I just never worked that into a cast?
Yeah, there's been lots of them. However, I haven't worked any of them into a cast because they're so severely irrelevant.
Caz has missed a lot of experience. He's still one creep away from 4. Bless is about half a level ahead. The E is not going to be the largest range, but it doesn't matter.
Yep, connects with the stretching strike. That's an easy flash.
Only a single point into his elastic slingshot, and yet still had enough range. Zach is one of the few champions where, especially when you get to level 9 and have 5 points in elastic slingshot, people will consistently underestimate the amount of gap close he has on that fully charged slingshot.
Yeah. Even half charged, you know, you see him charging the thing up and you're like, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Oh wait, hang on, no, definitely wasn't safe. Pretty scary. Praying Gorilla doing very, very well down here towards the bottom side. Only losing out on a couple of creeps, but that should even out as these ones are picked up.
At some point, this game could get to a point where you're BBQ trying to put down a ward, and you have to respect elastic slingshot, a Twitch coming out of stealth,
and a rift walk over
jumping
a wall.
on you, and then a hook over a wall.
Oh god! So pretty much everything.
Yep.
Khan could have teleported on top of you as well. Who
probably
knows?
not. I mean, you probably have to respect him split pushing your inhibitor as well.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like one of those meanwhile questions. It's like, respect 4 people, and also you need to watch out for your Nexus.
That's all predicated on this early game that we've talked about. Now, so far it's been quiet. Smooth sailing for BBQ, but it's only led to about a 600 gold lead, which you'll accept if you're Longzhu. Not giving up any deaths or early turret takes is just fine from a Longzhu perspective, given how much gambling they've done in the draft.
Can't yet to hit level 6, and Bless makes his way in here. Teleport comes down. There's the Cataclysm. But Khan, he's held on to the... No, he hasn't! Bless is going to fall. BDD says, thank you very much. And I'm looking for a second one as he's chasing after Crazy. Riftwalk goes in. No mana left for this Jarvan, and he doesn't have a flash. The elastic slingshot comes in. Weaver's Wall's not enough, and Tempt now might be in the wrong spot. Well, he is going to be able to back away, but that is an assist and a kill for a Kassadin, and that's a bad news story for BBQ.
They tried to make a play on a team with double teleport. That the Kassadin was there. He was also level 6. It was basically instant level 6s and full action in every lane. Bless the only person involved. And Caso as well, who was short of having their ultimate The turnaround from Longzhu is an important one, but it'll be the second game in a row where you disrespect to Cassidy, and BDD gets going very early on this pick.
Yep. Sort of like one of those things, if you disrespect Cassidy, you are going to be made pay for it. One of those situations. However, BBQ were able to overcome that pressure in the last game, despite BDD being incredibly fed. And this time, Tempt is on comfort, as well as with a large CS advantage and a pop.
Plus has a good read. BDD in the previous game, you'll remember, was Riff walking in for harass trades a lot. And also, that's just the play pattern against Talia, because he's now gone past level 6 as the Cassidy.
Bless easily able to lock down that red buff, deny level 6 from Cuz even further.
This has been definitely bullying around Cuz this game and last.
Oh yeah, he's going to make his way in here. Cuz may get brought down to that passive. Stretching Strike is just going to grasp on to what was left of his Raptor. Still going to be denied. Bless smites that one away as well.
The end result is CS leads in every lane, but when it's Cassidy, Fiora, and Twitch, it's always a question of, is it enough? If you look in the top lane, the 4 CS, you definitely say no. The mid lane's probably pretty on point, and 10 CS in bot lane also. It's kind of just the reality of the Doran Shield meta, is that with double health pot and also the Doran Shield regen, been able to get down about 10 to 15 CS behind, which is just fine from the side of Twitch. So all in all, given they picked up a couple of kills and kill involvements on their mid laner, early game's gone better than expected for Longzhu.
Well, level 6 is now being gained by Cuz. We'll see what he buys when he goes back. Probably just that Balmy Cinder, unless he can complete something like a Cinder Hulk. Flag and drag, not going to get any knockups onto Khan. Bless says, well, if you can't hit your moves, I'm not going to come in. At least that's what my solo queue jungler would have said.
Always a lot of gamesmanship on the use of the riposte in matchups like this, but Jarvan's pretty transparent. You know, you can very clearly see if the flag and drag is going to hit, and then use riposte accordingly.
Yeah. Well, attempt to BDD just facing off. He'd be happy to be a little bit further behind. He gets seismically shoved back. My apologies, Pop Smithy. I know you don't like that one.
I mean, shoved back is fine.
Okay, good.
He would really like some aggressive vision on both the blue and red side so that he can jump in, and if he sees Lee Sin on the map, then for sure the Riff walk in trade patterns make a lot of sense. But because Cuz has been consistently losing jungle pressure, which admittedly has no lane backup, makes sense in this particular game, it does mean that every time he Riff walks in, especially when his flash is down, could be an easy turnaround kill for BBQ.
Wow. Cuz now just trying to deal with the vision BBQ have put down. Bless setting up for this blue buff, but it is under the noses of Longzhu with that ward just going down. Temp threads some volleys through there, grabs that one himself. No answer here from Longzhu just yet, but a lot of information gained.
BDD's felt pressured enough to go for the Q max first. This interrupts the W there, does Cuz.
Yeah. A lot of damage, but good damage back there. Still gets the Dragon's Rage kick, which has been nerfed a little bit, so early cooldown much higher than it used to be.
You can't use it for just single target disengage as happily as you could before.
Yeah, well, there's the grand challenge. Khan. There's a lot of pressure down on him from Crazy, but he does manage to get himself out. Seismic shove, not going to find the Fiora.
Was very close, but no cigar in that scenario, and Tempt uses flash as well to get in range, so good trade of summoners there if you're Khan.
Oh yeah.
Does mean that basically is free food if there's any backup. If Elastic Slingshot hits onto the Talia when Cassidy is in lane, almost certainly will be a kill. Coming back to the skill order, I mean, Cassidy was one of the first few champions which was very much a put as many points into your Q as you feel you need, then max E. Force Pulse was always the bread and butter for a Cassidy. And of course now most supports will go 3 points into their laning ability. Like, for example, the Q on the Tahm Kench, then max W.
Yep.
Very common on Lulu. To put 3 points into E, then max W.
Well, in goes Cuz. This is exactly what you were talking about, Papa Smithy and Tempt. There is no way for him to go. And that is going to be the Let's Bounce. God, it's adorable now. Not as adorable if you're a BBQ fan, however.
You get to see the kidnap as well, because you don't always see the kidnap effect actually come through. There was no counterplay for Tempt, so you get to see the ability now of Zac to move multiple champions in a direction. In that point, he was already dead, so it was only just for a bit of flair. And if they get the mid lane turret here, how many times can you say a Cassidy actually has the mid lane turret advantage? Because now the roams can get pretty damn silly.
And he's got a Super Soaker as well, Papa Smithy, so he's feeling real good. Real happy to have some fun in the sun right now, that GLP 800. An adaptation of the build, wanting to go a little bit more early power. I like it.
I think in this scenario, it's one of the few times where I do like it, as we're going to see a bit of a champion spotlight for Zach. So the E is a 1-second stun, then you're kidnapped when you get through the Let's Bounce. So you charge it up for a minimum of 0.5 seconds, and then you see that as apparently miss more kills.
Yeah, BDD is going to get flashed on, and Bless is going to kill him. Can this be a double, actually, as Cuz looking to go aggressive? That passive will go down, and will the minions actually be able to kill him in time? Oh my goodness, gets in there. There's the play, there's the kill. And Cuz is still alive. Totoro wants to try and get this kill, but it feels like desperation. See you later, says Cuz. He'll make it out as a tiny little Zac trying to escape, and does so effectively.
I mean, Gorilla was famous for being the first person to pull the trigger on their own for the entirety of 2016. We're going to actually see this kill that we were denied, and every time Temps flashes down, this will happen again and again. There's no counterplay here. Even with double wards down, he probably would have died to this gank. But this time, Bless was there. Got the kick into turret and even the flash out of BDD. And it would have been a double kill, but look how much faster Gorilla is pulling the trigger on the roam. It's why when he spent the entirety of spring season in lane, you kind of felt you were denied the old Alistair roams that we saw from Gorilla for the majority of 2016. And Thresh being in the meta means we get to see this guy unchained from the bot lane and making things happen.
Unchained from the bot lane.
Gorilla Unchained.
I think there was a song has those lyrics.
Gorilla Unchained works Alistair as well.
Real good. Well, Infernal Drake going to go over to BBQ. A little bit too late is Cuz trying to get in there to try and contest, but always very difficult to try and steal away from a resonating strike and a smite.
There's so much action that I felt like there's multiple different things I want to talk about that have been denied, so
yeah,
I'm just going to totally derail the conversation and
go
not talk about
something else, man.
The GOP, I think, is one of the most interesting ones. Rite of Ages for longest time has been the core on Cassidy. But the reason why he's gone for it is, what did we talk about in the draft? Snowball lane, snowball lane, snowball lane. Well, getting a bit of early power on the Cassidy, not putting so much of the item efficiency into 10 minutes from now, 25 minutes, means that when he does teleport in, he's got more tools early and more power early to help the other lanes get ahead. So I think it's just someone has to take something for the team, otherwise we're putting too much into scaling in multiple lanes, and going GOP over Rite of Ages gets that extra oomph while they're still scaling up at 15 minutes. So
yeah, I like it.
I do think that's cool to see.
Also, if you want to be snowballing, having something that shoots ice balls out of it is pretty handy.
I knew it was super literal on that one.
Yeah, had to happen. I can hear the pure disappointment in your voice as well.
It's disdain, to be clear.
Well, just going to be a whole bunch of jungle being stolen away side of Longzhu, with that mid lane out of turret being taken. Just gives them so much room to move, especially with a 2, 1, and 3 Cassidy that just has to be respected. We're talking about the fact that BBQ will need to respect the amount of options Longzhu have for jumping on top of you. It feels like that's happened even earlier this time around, given all of the kills, given the 2-0-2 Zac who's running around the map. And look at how big he is now. Being able to build up a whole bunch of health.
Actually matching points between Q and W. Would have expected just the unstable matter, the W max second, because that's just a bit more flexible and has shorter cooldown, does percentage health damage, but Q's new functionality I think is super cool. You know, it used to be just a line wave clear spell that you maxed first if you were top lane.
Yeah, got you a bit of a slow. Oh, there's the kickback. Khan can't get enough done with all of the lifesteal that he had, and Bless making this Lee Sin work beautifully thus far.
Yeah, surprising Khan as well. Going to be a lot of threat onto the turret. Car's just waiting for the minion wave to come in so that he can slingshot on top of it.
BDD's been pinged out. Cuz will make it in there in time. Knock up. Going to come in a little bit late. Seems like nothing can interrupt Flag and Drag ever.
Feels like we're pretty... It feels like the rules for knock-ups and interrupts are always a little bit situational. Like this can interrupt this, but not this, and sometimes this.
And I'm pretty sure Flag and Drag could just never be interrupted. You could be dead, and I think you'll still follow that flag.
What about Malphitals?
Oh, that's unstoppable. Don't know.
Some testing to be done there. It's Crazy's open onto.
Yeah, speaking of testing, Prey just testing his little gun out. Crazy should make it underneath this turret.
Got the knockback because he actually used his auto attack on the second side of the stretching strike onto a minion. If it's on a different target, it does pull the two together. So that's what happened there. Cool little interaction.
Liked it. Longzhu now looking for this Rift Herald. Caso pretty much able to stay alive forever. I have a feeling that that'll be a Spirit Visage being picked up, and now with extra healing on that item, as well as Zach just being silly at the moment. Feels like a pretty easy 1-2 punch itemization-wise.
Yeah, 30% healing, like you say, from 25%, the old number, means that even more value of the Spirit Visage uses. Somewhere Marin is putting his hands together and thinking about his Dr. Mundo.
I believe there is a Papa Smithy gift that could work out exactly the same way on the internet.
He's just waiting for someone to pick Rumble against him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
For him to lose lane.
Yeah, exactly. Was it Marin or Looper in the LPL that decided that the Gnar counter was Annie?
It was Looper.
That was Looper. I knew there was a world champion top laner that had made a pretty awful error towards the top side of the map.
I'm waiting for Duke to have his own pocket pick that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. He's going to land here from Bless onto Gorilla, but there's the hook back. Kotaro does need to be very careful as Cuz just says, no, I think I'll back away from that one. There's a Talia coming.
Yeah, Prey's not interested in being one-shot by Crazy. One-shot's perhaps strong when he only has a Tiamat. I didn't fully grasp that he's gone nowhere near a Black Cleave or other offensive itemization Crazy this time around.
I actually decided to go for Tiamat first because he was doing well in lane, and then goes for that sort of tanky choice, opting in for more of a team fight-oriented build. Khan wants nothing to do with that at all. Going for his Black Cleaver second, and Ravenous Hydra straight out as item number 1.
Just going for the Leasherino.
Yep. Thankfully, Cinderhawk can't steal a blue buff.
Cinderhawk buffed on this patch as well. Now it does the same damage to champions that Sunfire Cape does.
Yeah.
Actually a pretty big buff there. It doesn't have the extra damage to minions that Sunfire Cape does. So Sunfire Cape's definitely better for pushing, but Cinderhawk got a straight up buff. It was kind of lost in the...
Yeah, lost in the notes a little bit. But
there were a lot of them.
It was most certainly a compendium.
It did feel like our cast this week would be a bit of a test, you know.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I don't know whether I crammed necessarily enough. As Rift Herald going on a merry walk.
Goes to the closest lane, which is where Zach channeled it from, was bot lane. That's why you see a double recall. They know Abyssal Voyage is down, so this is actually a fun window to exploit here. They will for sure get the turret.
Well, Prey just says, I'm going to go invisible, and I'm still going to take the turret, despite your Weaver's Wall. And in fact, I'm going to try and start a fight here as Prey, good positioning, does wear out a little bit too quickly. Nice knock-up comes in as Cuz. He's going to relegate himself to the Cataclysm as he jumps himself out. Crazy delivered to the team. Cuz is still alive. Can the Contaminate grab the kill? No, it can't, as Bless is going to kick away the rat, try and keep himself up. And Tempt offers the support. No one dead, but some really fancy play coming out from both teams.
Yeah, Blast needed to use the kick to actually interrupt the Let's Bounce channel. Didn't use it, held on to it. Maybe too greedy there. And he actually kidnapped the Thresher, the support out there, the Tom Kench, out of the fight and potentially into his death. So really nice escape. You normally, when you think about Zach, you consider, okay, Elastic Slingshot is down. No way for him to get over a wall. But now with the new Let's Bounce, able to make that grand escape.
Yeah. If you're happy to bring your opponents with you, you can certainly make that escape. Like it a lot. Khan just going to riposte the Baron, meaning that he takes even more damage. Probably didn't even need to use that.
I think it was Seismic Shove over the wall. Just a kind of a prediction coming through there. And
yes.
Ended up taking Baron and also Q damage from the Talia.
All in all, bit of a negative. Khan's been having a decent time just trying to get to that beastly split push mode.
Yeah, as long as you're keeping the CS values up, even if you're not getting early solo kills, there is an air of inevitability about 2-item Fiora coming online soon.
Well, Ghost is going to move his way up, sees the pink ward, knows that Longzhu have full vision of where he is, but there are 5 people making their way up. Abyssal Voyage is going to deliver a Talia right behind as Gorilla offers a lantern, but it's still dangerous. The flash comes in, Gorilla still alive somehow. but probably not for long as the Grand Challenge comes in. Gorilla, how are you still up? The heal comes in to save him as Khan is running so quickly. Gorilla survives. Khan is most certainly dead. However, losing only one for that massive collapse is weird.
And they buy so much time that BDD can casually walk up to mid and they don't lose anymore. BDD didn't have teleport that fight. And speaking of BDD...
Yep, Crazy going to take a lot of damage from him. Force Pulse tearing him up. He's got his Sonya's Hourglass actually completed by BDD, so a lot more flexibility in these fights. BBQ do decide to engage on the Kassadin.
You get a quick pick there. Yeah. Thresh dies instantly, and turning on to Baron, turning on to other objectives was a possibility for BBQ. But because he bought so much time, by the time they actually cemented that kill onto the Fiora, BDD was there to react even without teleport, and the chance for an objective was over. So credit to Longzhu buying so much time after being caught with their pants down a little bit to actually stop there from being any objective snowball.
Yeah. Still feels like this game is very close. That is illustrated in the gold, only 400 in it. Prey's going to steal away a red buff, but these are small advantages that are being gained. Both teams actually going for plays, making them work, but it seems like what is responded to by BBQ is then responded once again from Longzhu afterwards. It's like a game of take it in turns to make the plays. And they have been successful on both sides. No one really able to get anything that snowballs this game in any direction or another.
It's a bit of a chess game, like you mentioned. And too many mistakes so far in Game 3.
Would have been a better way to explain it after, wouldn't it, Papa Smithy?
That's okay. That's why there's two of us. So if one of us is a bit silly, the other one can try and bring it back. A lot of wave clear here, but Cuz gonna feign and engage.
And actually gonna dive in onto the Caitlyn there as well as he kidnaps Les. That play was unbelievable from Gorilla, and Prey's gonna be able to pick up the kill because of it. Khan looking for an entrance. The Grey Help eaten there, but it is going to be Totoro falling down. The Grand Challenge capitalized on everyone healthy, and that is gonna be 3 swift kills for Longzhu. Tempt still looking for damage back, but Prey gets the flank onto Ghost. In goes BDD. Everyone with so much mobility, but Prey is going to fall down. Ghost grabs that kill, and they bite off a little bit more than they can chew.
They get a lot of objectives, a lot of kills there as they trade up. In many ways, 3 for 1, but not quite taking down Ghost. And they have to complete their recall, so it's only extra gold. Admittedly, into a comp, they can execute 1-3-1. But we start to see once again the threat of that. The range on the engage here, it's impossible to get. Great Wars in that spot, and the kidnap, the Let's Bounce second part goes onto the Lee Sin, who dies for basically no value in the fight. But the cool thing to me was seeing Prey back on his trademark Twitch. He goes back in. The healing field on the Blobless was amusing in its own.
Yes.
But a lot of people would have thought the fight was over after the first 2 kills came down, but Prey had other ideas, went aggressive like we've seen him do on Ashe and other carries, where a lot of people have defensive mindedness about fights. Prey is always pushing the limit of what you can do on these AD carries. Frontline AD carry was a meme for a long time. A lot of players have been called frontline AD carries, and not in a nice way. Maybe Prey is one of the few that is said affectionately about.
Well, Tempt once again, he's going to get pulled back by that stretching strike. Cuz is going to grab that kill, but Prey was there for a lot of that damage.
The damage is only going to go up. He's gone pretty low damage if you think about it. There's no Infinity Edge here.
Yeah, not yet.
No second Zeal item. Went Last Whisper to try and deal with the Jarvan in the front line. Damage only going to get more severe from the Twitch. And the moment we see 2 items on Fiora, BBQ have to be so careful in their macro choices, because now Fiora is going to have pressure on the Jarvan. Now, Teleport is up on BDD, and he's working towards his 3rd item, which will be that Lich Bane, and that's not even putting into play Prey coming in and opening up. So there's so much map pressure that keeping a control ward line to get any sort of idea. Wards here are so important for BBQ, because if you're in a 1v1 in top or bot lane, you could be outnumbered by Zac, Thresh, Twitch, and the rest coming in an instant.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did compliment BBQ on their decision-making in the second game. They were able to get the engages that they wanted in the way that they wanted. But now, with everything that you just illustrated, Papa Smithy, they need to be thinking about so much in order to make the right call. And it feels like Longzhu, it's just a matter of time before they can get BBQ into one of those impossible decision scenarios where they will be able to take something just based on how their composition works and the amount of money that they've accrued on their incredibly powerful champions.
Still no inevitability about this game. It felt like we kind of knew the way that the second game would flow, and it went against expectations. A lot of the power from Longzhu is in the pick, is in playing around split pushes. So, still if it's true 5v5, BBQ do have good tools in that scenario. But a single pick can happen in an instant with the amount of damage there is on the side of Longzhu. So, while it's a seesaw, the advantage on the seesaw is definitely towards Longzhu.
Yeah. And, you know, you're right. BBQ have started to build up some items. You've got double Black Cleaver to try and buff up this Caitlyn, who's just completed her third item, which is always a pivotal breakpoint, double Zeal, as well as that Infinity Edge. You've got a massive amount of crit chance. Will be able to shred through a lot of these squishies. Does still need that last Whisper if he wants to try and get through Cuz, but Khan not building very defensively at all, so is still going to be susceptible to the Caitlyn damage.
And Cuz knows that his job in these fights is to go for the engage, which was always the way with Zac, and then not die to Caitlyn as he kind of walks out of the fight. Because that's why he's going for the Randuin's new build path is being shown here. Double Ruby Crystal and the Warden's Mail.
Oh, that's going to deny a red buff from the Caitlyn, so that is very, very important. Well, not very important, but still good.
The longer that Cuz can absorb damage from the Caitlyn critical strikes, the better. The buff on this patch to the critical strike reduction was from 10% to 20%. So in a game where there is a lot more crit, where you're getting Infinity Edge and your Zeal items earlier because of the reduced cost on the Infinity Edge, crit reduction can be very, very powerful.
Yeah, in fact, I think most of the Zeal items going down in price apart from Phantom Dancer.
It was just actually the Zeal portion. Like the recipes went up to
yes,
allow for
same,
it. But Infinity Edge Zeal comes in earlier. More champions in general are building critical strikes. So Randuin's now no longer gives you as much health. I think it's lost 100 health. I may be wrong on that. It might actually be 150. But regardless, it's now finally tuned to be good against crit 80 carries. Maybe don't really consider it in other scenarios.
Yeah, I feel like we're still going to get a pass mark for this exam, but I honestly dropped the ball with that last portion. Memory was just never really my thing, Papa Smithy.
What is your thing, Alex?
Saying silly words.
I haven't quite worked it out yet.
Changing ability names into verbs.
Speaking French-Italian also, your thing.
How did that last? Oh, I thought that'd just be...
it made an impression.
Water under the bridge, you know? Poo sticks, as you would understand. Winnie the Pooh references. Brilliant. I always know that you can stay with me for those.
That is a handoff I'll always pick up.
Yes. Note to self, can always say poo sticks and things will be fine.
So the way this works, the 1-3-1 we were speaking about is Khan having pressure on Jarvan in the bot lane and basically trying to take over the red side jungle of BBQ with control wards and vision. And let's look for picks as they kind of move between mid lane and top lane. Cassin in the top lane, 3 in the mid lane. Speaking of picks.
Yeah, trying to actually look for one now on Totoro. Eats the Grey Health very, very early. The kick back onto Cuz just to get himself out of the fight.
Teleport used and cancelled, so now teleport not up. Longzhu still do get something. It's not an objective, but getting rid of Crazy's teleport means the Baron, and specifically BBQ's play around Baron, has to be warped. Suddenly, they have to get in pretty early, and that's why they're trying to make a big pick on the map.
Well, Crazy's in a whole host of trouble. The Abyssal Voyage was there just as a go button for Khan to flat out kill Crazy.
See, it wasn't a mistake from BBQ because they have no control around the Baron buff. They had to try and make something happen with the one, otherwise the teleport advantage plus the fact that the control ward had stuck would mean they would give up Baron anyway. But misexecution, eating too much free damage at the start, Crazy trying to bait the fight, means that Longzhu get everything. BBQ looks silly, but they were in a lose-lose scenario.
This is exactly what we were talking about before, Papa Smithy. You know, that Longzhu has a composition that can put you in these impossible choices.
Now Gorilla needs to stop Lee Sin from getting in.
Well, BDD just wants to kill him. That's his answer as big knock-up comes in. But look at this, Baron goes down low. Bless is in the pit. It's a 50-50, but no, it's not, because the Baron is alive and Bless is not. And Khan's killing people on the backside. Talia unable to do anything. And it looks like BBQ are falling apart as Longzhu's composition is really coming online now.
In one fell swoop from 30 minutes to now, Longzhu win in every area. Even able to turn on the Lee Sin, who wasn't quite kept out of the pit. But they were able to not DPS down the Baron, which actually is a pretty difficult task when the Baron is basically on the same pixel as the Lee Sin. Probably using some cute little macros to do that. Not helpers necessarily, but different buttons.
The target-only champions.
The tilde button there was definitely helping out when taking down the Lee Sin, and they tried the big play onto the bot lane. Fiora got a single kill, got out. They got the free Baron from it as well, and now suddenly everything that we're talking about, the seesaw we're talking about, they got a couple of extra mates to come and sit on one side of the seesaw because now, big advantage Longzhu gained.
Just gigantic. Cuz having another great game, 3-0 and 6, but largely a product of Zac being a pretty good champion. There's Khan, he's going to get jumped on, but look at all this lifesteal. He's 1 versus 4 right now. Almost able to grab himself a kill, but Bless is finally able to get it. But in the meantime, Baron buff is helping Longzhu take down this inner turret in the mid lane. Bottom inner turret will also fall down as BDD. He's got a Lich Bane, he's able to shove this wave forward. They should be able to get this one done. So Khan says, yeah, it's probably worth it. No, my teleport is down.
The reward is certainly not there when you're against Baron buff, taking down a no flash, no teleport Fiora. So much different to their attempt to take down the Fiora when they had a teleport disadvantage in the bot lane not 4 minutes ago. So just a single kill, walking away, and they may actually just lose the turret in that lane anyway.
Yep. Prey looking to try and get some bullets into it now with his double zeal as well as that Mortal Reminder done. Mortal Reminder, of course, being a little bit less effective. That bonus armor penetration.
Just a bit of tuning to deal with the armor values and health values and other things.
Not quite as much health available, which is why you see Warmog's passive also going down to about the 2,750 mark. Look, I'm desperate for points in this exam, Papa Smitty, like desperate.
You're looking for some extra credit, aren't you, Atlas?
Oh yeah, well like I screwed up so much before. I'm now just throwing in useless stuff. It's just written in the margin, you know, Professor love me.
It's okay, my friend.
Thanks,
okay.
Papa. Thanks, Papa.
I think the stream caught the pat on the back there.
Hope so. Oh, Cuz gets himself over the base gate.
He is that.
Yeah, just going to take himself a lantern and get stuck in the animation, as a lot of champions do. Oh, wow, that is terrifying. Cthulhu, is that you?
It's no Aurelia surfing, but it's close.
That's true. Oh, no. Oh, what is it? Draven with his axe just spinning. That's a silly one. As Khan just says, well, your Abyssal Voyage looked fun, but I'm not going to take that ride today.
There's only 2 people invested this time. No one. Actually, it was 3. So they invest 3 against still Baron buff, which seems silly.
God.
Just popping the ultimate to be able to do a bit of harass and actually take down the structure as well. Most Twitchers will hold on to that for a team fight. Speaking of team fights.
Yeah. Gorilla throws in the hook, doesn't get exactly who he wants, as there's the Let's Bounce from Cuz, and he just gets taken out. Elastic Slingshot going to get him even further from this fight. Meanwhile, Khan's just utilizing all the time that he's given, and I actually love that from Cuz. He just disrupts everyone, kidnaps someone, carries them away, and then just takes a lantern, Elastic Slingshot. He's going to be fine. Everyone getting split so effectively in every single lane. And look at Khan. I mean, he can take harass for days, and then with the newly buffed Ravenous Hydra, I think it went up about 4% lifesteal.
5 extra AD is the big change to Ravenous Hydra, but I take your point, Atlas. This is kind of what we talked about. It doesn't have to be a team fight for Longzhu Gaming.
Yeah.
When these snowball laners get ahead, the Cassidy has good items. The Fiora hit her item marks as well. There's no good decisions. The Abyssal Voyages have been answered. The multiple man, even when they get the person they're looking for, are getting punished on every other area of the map. The draft from Longzhu is not one you can just plug and play into every team on every day, because it was very, very risky. The reward that you're seeing at 25 to 30 minutes plus is reward for Longzhu getting through the early game, Cuz making some moves in the early game before things could really turn. Because if BBQ, gets a couple of kills on Khan in the laning phase and also has another winning lane, Cassin's well held in the mid lane, they run over Longzhu before the scaling happens, before 3 items are hit. Big thing for Longzhu was they were within 1,000 gold basically the entire game. And that's where kind of the inevitability of what the game would look like at 35 minutes started to really come into fruition.
Yeah. And it's just one of those feelings that you get when a team gets himself into a position that's very, very comfortable. Longzhu now with that textbook approach to the remainder of this game, and BBQ need to try and hope for one of those ideal scenarios. They got one of them in game number 2, but it was at a different point Now it's a 10,000 gold lead on a team that has so much scaling.
Yeah, the sinking feeling you're talking about. We've all played solo queue. When a Fiora gets fed, sinking feeling. When a Cassidy gets fed, sinking feeling. Twitch is much the same, so
when
sinking's
Zach is on the opposing side, as he actually jumps in, kidnaps 2 members and brings them out. Bless and... yeah, Totoro just completely torn up. Bless escapes for a little while, but it's not quite enough. And oh my god, Ghost, you had a health bar a moment ago. It is gone now as Khan can't get the riposte kill for... bit of style points, and Tempt is relegated to outside of his base.
2 damage, not enough to burn him down, but the base will go down around him, and Longzhu Gaming finally going to get over the line.
Yeah, it's a risky composition, but it pays off in the end. A 2-1 victory for Longzhu Gaming as the Nexus falls down.
That was a really impressive performance for them. Now they got the Zac. We get our first sighting of the must-ban Zac in Game 3 of our 5th set of the season. You see why it inspires so much fear. But then again, so many of the champions on the side of Longzhu had that same fear, had that same threat. And this was a game where they got through the early game. BBQ couldn't get enough work done. And we come back to Doran Shield. And it sounds like a weird time to mention it, but what did they say about Doran Shield? It helps riskier laners, late game laners, get through laning phase and get threatening. And there's a reason why we saw 5 Doran Shields so reliably in this particular series, because hey, if you can skip laning phase on Twitch, Cassidy, and Fiora, how often do you win? Well, guess what? Many more than 9 times out of 10.
Well, it seems to have happened here for Longzhu Gaming, and I want to go back as well to what you said initially about the Zac pick. He flourishes in that early to mid game where all of these laners that he was trying to accompany weren't necessarily as powerful, so able to create a whole lot of disruption for himself, wasn't bullied by Bless in anywhere near the style that he was previously in game number 2.
It was to a point, right? We saw him lose a couple of buffs, but then it kind of fell away when he was the one making proactive moves. And I want to credit Cuz a lot. I don't know if he'll win MVP for this game, but what Cuz had a very difficult hand to make the most of. If it was a Hearthstone analogy, he had a lot of 8 mana plus legendaries opening things up because he had the legendaries, he had the Fiora, he had the Cassidy, he had the Twitch, but that doesn't help you on turn 1. But he actually got through so much of the early game, playing smart, doing the most, and even if he was bouncing around not picking up kills, any disruption to get that timer to 25 minutes is a successful one. So in a difficult spot, I think Cuz played very smartly on the Zac.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And the way that they capitalized on every flash that was missing as well, he goes up topside, gets Crazy's flash, gives Khan an easier laning experience, and then as soon as Talia used her flash to try and kill Khan, I believe he killed her twice in 2 minutes.
That was a tricky one.
That was pretty disgusting.
When your mid laner doesn't have flash against Cassidy and Zac, then you know what? You can try and put up the wards, you can try and play defensively, but Classic Slingshot gets to the range where defensively is not enough, and guess what? He's pretty good at tanking up turrets as well. So Cassidy got the mid lane turret on the Talia, and you can kind of plug and play what you imagine happened after that, even if you didn't catch the VOD.
Well, we are going to have a look at this damage scoreline, and look, Tempt did a decent job trying to get damage down, but you're a poke champion, you've got those tools, and this was all about what Longzhu could do, mostly to structures and to minion waves, because they were spreading BBQ way too thin. The condiments on this chicken was just not enough, Papa Smithy, to try and get around this Longzhu lineup.
We'll see how many times teams will actually get away with drafts like Longzhu's. In previous patches, in previous seasons, it'd be impossible, and wow, Cuz will actually pick up, I believe, well-deserved credit and a double MVP for our recently ranked 1, now ranked 3, Jungle Prodigy.
Incredible performance. Didn't even get to bust out his Nidalee, unfortunately. I would have loved to see it. But now he's going to be the first solo in the lead MVP that we've got.
A lot of Longzhu names on that list, but understandable, given that they have the 4 wins. Cuz played really smartly in a tough position, like I outlined on the Zac, and it was also a bit of a Zac highlight reel. We saw a lot of the actual kidnaps coming through from the ultimate, which in my solo queue games I never saw. But it felt like we saw kind of a highlight reel in front of our faces of why Zac on this patch, with the damage numbers especially, because the utility was always there for Zac. He just kind of did negative damage in the past. Now his damage is actually pretty damn reliable, and somehow his utility is even better So the end result is just too much for teams to handle.
And his survivability it always was absurd and very, very difficult to keep track of, but with the buff to Spirit Visage, that is so important at the same time, and he jungles so incredibly quickly with the fact that Cinderhulk a little bit more damage as well.
I mean, it's fine for champions to have insane utility, but it's when you give them health ratio, it's when the items start to line up for them, that's where it becomes too much. When they introduce the Q having a maximum health ratio, when they give him different ways to go for his tanky build path, have crazy utility and survivability, but also do more than 0 damage. And hey, kidnap effects. There's a reason that there's not many AoE pulls in this game. The end result is that Zac is at a pretty insane power level, and Cuz wasn't showing in solo queue, not many people get to, but he showed it in pro play right here.
Yeah. And look at this. This was honestly all disruption, because you can see the Fiora on the top side of the map, and he gets himself out very easily with the help of Gorilla, who also had a fantastic game on the Thresh as well. Some of his roaming plays were certainly fantastic. We saw a few of them here in this game as well, as this was just clean up from Longzhu at this stage.
You can't help but smile when Thresh, Zac, Lee Sin, Jarvan, so much gap close and different vertical play happening here. But congratulations to Cuz. Been cool to hear from a young prodigy as he's making his way onto the MVP lounge.
Yeah, and we are going to throw it over to Joel for some translation of this interview.
Thank you very much, guys. We're here with Longzhu Gaming, picking up their second series win of the season. This time picking up a 2-1 victory against BBQ Oliver. We are here with the man who really decided the series win, Cuz, for the solo interview. Cuz, congratulations on the win. You are the only one here today for the MVP interview. How do you feel? You know, getting a second win in a row, it feels really great. And it seems like you're very comfortable on the stage, and you really, doing your little ceremonies when you get the win. Do you feel comfortable in the booth? Yeah, I think, my teammates are really helping me out, getting me more comfortable on stage. And something that we have to talk about is something that's off the game. And it seemed like, there was a situation where all the players have changed with Longzhu squad. What do you think about that? It was a situation where, all of our players, with the high rankings, we were trying really hard to climb up that solo queue rankings. And it seems like a solo queue ranking is something that is a highlight of the Longzhu gaming. Do you have any tips on why all of your teammates are so high on the solo queue? And I think it's a situation where, we do our primary positions that we want to play, and sometimes we don't get those, but we kind of kindly ask the other teammates to give us the position that we want, so we get an advantage off of that. And of course, you guys do have to rely on the very experienced bot lane with Gorilla and Prey. And as you say, our team is really rotated around that bot lane because of their prowess and of their experience that they have. It gives us a lot more easier time, allowing us to focus more on the other lanes. First game, you picked out the Elise. And it seemed like you were very calm throughout the game and picked it up slowly and picked up, little advantages that you were able to get. And we have a video highlight of that. This is the first cocoon that you landed that led to the first kill. And it seemed like Lee Sin couldn't do anything in that play. And the first kill was due to a long waiting time in that bush. But, overall, you seem very calm about that. How do you rate your play? Yeah, I thought, I was kind of looking for the chain CC. As long as, Varus gets that CC in, I think we had an easy opportunity to kill the Caitlyn. So that's kind of what it was worth waiting the long time, but it was definitely paid off. And one thing we do have to point out is that, as a rookie jungler, essentially, it seemed that you're much more calmer than the other rookie junglers that we've seen so far. But right now, what is that What is that tip of getting to that confidence rate that you have right now? Yeah, I really try not to be a little more flashy for the team, because I know even without me performing, my other teammates will do well, so I don't try to be the main character of my team. And second game is an interesting one that we have to talk about. Is it was a loss for you guys, but what was it like for you on that second game? Yeah, I think the second game reminded me of my solo queue games when I was a Lee Sin and I was trying to invade the other jungler, just like I was invaded today. And getting the taste of my own medicine really hurt me in the long run, and I think I should have reacted a little better than I did. Yeah, with the Rex side, the reason I picked it was, kind of for the excitement of, the rework that is going to be done, so I wanted to get a little hands on it beforehand. And with the current meta changes, many people are really experimenting with the other junglers, the many jungle choices out there. What is your current pick on the jungle choices? I think it's up to the 3 champions that, whether he will disclose or not, we have to see, but I'm sure you guys will know, with the ban pick phases going on, you kind of see what those 3 champions are in the jungle. And game 3 was interesting because Zach, that was forever not going to be disclosed, but it was finally open and you took advantage of that. Yeah, as soon as I picked up the Zach, I knew that we were going to win the game, and Zach is so overpowered right now. And we have a video highlight of that Zach play. The first example of why he's so overpowered. Do you have any specific tips on using Zach? Of course, you have to hit the E, which would be better in the long run, but even if you miss the E, the ult is usually enough to, get the job done. And, when you have a situation when you can just take the flash out, it's an advantage in itself. So, just getting little advantages with the many plays that Zach can make is one of the reasons why he's so overpowered. Oh, it seems like you guys were good friends with BDD. That's what we've been hearing. Does that really help in the actual plays? Yeah, we didn't get that much time to practice with each other in the actual Longzhu squad, but having played with him in solo queues and kind of just duo queuing, and from a while back, it really does help the synergy and really helps our chemistry between the two of us. And what we have to talk about is the new reformed Longzhu seems more consistent and more, definitely more stable compared to the old Longzhu squad. But what is the difference, with the big change that came to the squad? I think we do have a big trust in each other. I think that's a big thing. And we really try to have a wide champion pool, is that we're not limited to a few champions, but we can play different champions in different situations. Next opponent is SKT for you guys, and I'm sure it's a very different team to the teams that you probably faced up to now, but how do you feel about that? Yeah, I think we're still going to be preparing as hard, and I think with enough preparation, I think we do have a decent chance of beating SKT. And lastly, could you say a word to the fans out here cheering for you guys? We always thank you for your support. And I think this season is a season that you guys can really expect something from us. And we just really ask you to continue to cheer for us. And that seems to be the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. You can see, not mincing words is Cuz about the old Zach, but confident and humble at the same time. Papa Smithy, it's great to hear from him.
And he said it's all about the top 3 junglers, Lee Sin, Elise, of course, the 2 of the big ones there.
Yep.
The jungle pool hasn't necessarily been super exciting. We've seen so much other innovation. Zach is the 3rd in that one, but then there's Gragas from Ambition.
Yep.
Everyone
Olaf
has a
as
pocket
well,
pick.
coming
As you
back
say,
in.
Olaf has been super popular, and Longzhu do go this first week 2-1 victors and 2-0 overall. So big win here for Longzhu Gaming. So much change, but finally some reliability on the Rift. And we're going to get our final debut. We've seen 9 of the teams. Finally, the Rocks Tigers will take to the Rift in match 2.
Yeah, and another sort of unchanged roster as well. BBQ also staying very consistent with theirs, and Rocks Tigers another example of that, and they're going to be taking on Jin Air Green Wings, fresh from the promotion tournament, but looking a lot better as they make their way back in as well. And we'll see how they're going to do in their second match of the week.
Yeah, I mean, expectations for both these teams are kind of in a weird spot. Jin Air looked pretty good in their first match season against MVP, but didn't pick up the victory. But like Ever 8 winners yesterday.
Yeah.
And then Rocks Tigers. Are they on the up? Are they on the down? We're never really sure.
Not entirely sure. And we are going to have a short break, ladies and gentlemen.
About 15 minutes.
Yeah, about 15 minutes. So go and grab a drink, grab some food, something like that, get stuff done, and come back for Rocks Tigers versus Jin Air.